welcome to the first episode blah, 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 of our Me First podcast. My name is Marge. My very good friend Ria is with me. She's actually one of my best
Hello,
cousins.
hello.
Yep,
Yes.
this is our first episode where we are going to be putting ourselves first without guilt, because if we don't, who will? We want to talk to you about our show, which is about giving women permission to prioritize themselves in a world where we are always expected to be the caregivers. But
Mm-hmm.
before I go there, let us talk about you. How are you doing? How is
Good.
Canada?
Oh, today the weather is beautiful. Finally we had sun.
Okay.
Yesterday it's been raining a lot this week, so this one's a gift.
Mm.
So
I
everyone's
wish
outside.
I wish I could say we're getting a lot of sun and say it with excitement. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows this, but to the rest of the world, Las Vegas is called Sin City. Now, I moved to Las Vegas from California about a year ago, and I have experienced 120-degree summer, which is about 50-degree Celsius, if you're not
Oh.
familiar with the conversion. So I tell everybody, Sin City and that kind of heat, they tell everybody you are being trained for hell.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. It is super
It's
hot.
hot. It's
Yes.
hot. I live in a townhouse complex. I walked from my garage to the mailbox and I was fumbling with the keys and I could not get it to open. And I said, screw the mail, screw the mail. The mail can burn. I'm gonna go back into my house. And I totally did.
Good for you.
That's what I did.
Wow. Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I did. But going back to what we are talking about, we want to talk about ourselves and our experiences. And today, since we are doing an introduction of the podcast, I want us to talk about the moment where we realized we were putting ourselves last at home, at work, your health, everything. Tell me about yours and I'll tell you about mine. Let's
Okay.
go.
Yeah, well, yeah, for me, because for a long time I've been a single mom and the
Mhm.
breadwinner of my family. So
Oh, I
my
get
dad's
it.
been sick. My dad's been sick for like 15 years, ALS, but
Hmm.
he passed away 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And
Sorry.
so yeah, but yeah, it was hard because partly because I put the responsibility on myself.
We
I'm the
do
middle
that.
child. Exactly, I think so. Yeah. So sometimes we how do you say that?
We put ourselves last. You were also the only
Yes,
daughter. Culturally, we are
yes.
the caregivers. Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And also financial support. I'm the one who's taking care of everyone.
Hmm.
So it was always like that. I always have to find something to work or to get a project so that I make sure that everyone's provided, especially my dad, because he had a lot of medicines and
Hmm.
he needed a lot of help.
Caregivers.
Yes. So I was a breadwinner and then it happened and I just burned myself to the ground until during the pandemic. Well, oddly enough, and I think my perimenopause symptoms also started showing up during the pandemic because I'm going to be 43 next month in 2 months. So yeah, so that's when it happened, and for a time I thought that this is just because of the pandemic, and I was being very hard on myself because I was really having a mental health breakdown, and I didn't know what's going to happen with my life. I moved to a new country, so I don't have a job. So all of those things happened at the same time. But then I thought that it was all just me because I was thinking negatively all the time. It was
Hmm. Hmm.
and so but yeah, suddenly when all of the symptoms are all coming together and then hey, oh my gosh, I a bad person for feeling this way? Why am I so negative? Why is it that I can't see anything to be grateful for? And it's just always like that. And that thinking actually brought me more, it was making things worse for me.
Oh,
Until
absolutely.
one
I could
day,
see that.
yeah, until one day we were at a gathering and then we had friends, female friends. They were about midlife, 40s, 50s, and they were talking
Uh-huh.
about menopause quietly in the corner. And then there was a
Once
nurse.
again. Hmm.
Yes, she's a very good friend. And she mentioned, out of nowhere, she said, menopause, the symptoms of menopause starts 10 years before the actual menopause. So that was like, it's like an aha moment for me. And
Oh,
in
I
a
believe
way,
it.
yes, just hearing those words, I felt validated. You know, I'm not going crazy. I'm not just being a negative and ungrateful person who always thinks negative. So
I can see that. I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So my experience was quite, I mean, similarly along the same path as
yeah, I
yours,
know.
but quite the opposite. Because when people say, you're probably menopausal, I'm like, what? I am not
Oh,
menopausal. I am too young. What are you talking about? You
yeah.
are crazy. I am not going to be part of this conversation. um
Wow.
but I will share a me first moment that you could probably, or me last moment that you could probably relate to.
Mm-hmm.
My husband had said something to me a few years, because my husband and I have been together for 7 years now. We've only been married a year, but we've been together for 7 years. At one point during us, probably the first 2 years of our relationship, he said to me, your family is not afraid to mess up because they know you will catch them every time. Now, if you think about it out of context, this probably sounds like a good thing. Like everybody's like, go for it. They're brave. But really, no. What that meant was I had been enabling everybody
That's the
because they
word.
know.
That's the
Yes,
word.
I had been enabling everybody. If they mess up, and let's say, for example, a bad expense, like they want to buy something that's probably out of the ordinary and irresponsible, they will do it because they know if something
Yeah.
goes wrong, mom will take care of it, or Marge will take care of it, which is why I kind of pretty much empathize deeply with what you said about your family, because we put it upon ourselves. Nobody has put that on us. The sad part is because we'd put it upon ourselves, we pretty much enabled everybody else. And so when we start kind of setting those boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
the challenge kind of starts. And, I mean, not only do you feel bad because, oh, wait a minute, why am I doing that? I don't want my mom to suffer. I don't want my dad to suffer. I don't want my kids to suffer. You start feeling selfish. Should I have bought this for myself? Should I have gone and spend a couple $100s on a
Mm.
massage?
Yeah.
So I absolutely, completely understand. And once again, going back to our culture, culturally,
Exactly.
we are
Exactly.
caregivers. Women
Yes.
are caretakers. We take care of
100%.
our men, we take care of our children. This is it. And the sad part is that it's our generation. And
Yeah.
at this point, I totally, totally believe it absolutely needs to stop. So
Mhm.
coming from that, let's talk solutions. So what did you do?
Yes.
What did you do? How did you move from that? So you moved to another country, you met this nurse, you had your aha moment. Let's go. What are we going to do next?
Yes. Well, while that was happening, I learned something
Hmm.
new for myself because I was never creative. I was never working with my hands.
Uh-huh.
Back in the Philippines, where I used to
Hmm.
live, I was always doing corporate job, and after that, I went into business, where sales and marketing and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
So when I moved to a new country here in Canada, when moved here, I learned how to bake, and I learned to be more creative. So now I'm doing cake designing. I'm a cake decorator, and also I'm doing event styling. So it's more like, and it's fun. Like finally, I can play. You know,
You're
because
doing
in the
what you
Philippines,
enjoy.
yes, and I didn't know that I would enjoy that. So
Yeah.
I gave that to myself. Hey, I'm only
Yeah.
baking. I'm not
Yeah.
doing like big corporate jobs, which I always wanted to do, and I'm not into big businesses. But this one gives me life. You know,
I
it's
bet.
different because yeah, because
I
when we were
bet.
younger, we're always when you go to school. After you graduate, you have to find a job and then work, 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 provide, provide,
Yeah.
provide. And then you
Make
never had
money.
time. Yes, you never had time
Yes.
to play. So this is like my
Absolutely.
play. So
I
that
bet
was
it gives you
good.
a purpose.
Yes, it does. It does.
I
And
bet. I bet.
yeah, yeah, it helped me a
So
lot to get out of my head.
everybody listening, if you are thinking, oh, she just learned how to bake, you have got to take time to visit Ria's Instagram page, The Flower Apprentice. I always tell her the beauty of her creations and her art is what I call it. I'm super passionate about this, are for the magazines.
Oh, thank you.
House, House Beautiful, Kate, whatever. They are beautiful cakes. They are custom cakes that
Mm,
will just blow your mind. I love that. You enjoy it. I can tell. I mean,
mm.
for the most part, people are gonna be like, "Oh, she just bakes cakes." No, and just so you know, those cakes are really expensive, but I do know she probably does not charge as much as she should.
No, no, I don't.
You
For the amount of time that I give.
I absolutely think you need to be charging as much
Yes, I
as what those
know.
cakes are
Yeah,
worth because they are absolutely beautiful, crafted with her hands, with love, and the best products you can
yes.
get that she
Yeah.
flies into
Thank
Canada.
you. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I gave myself permission to. Like, for example,
Absolutely.
I told my husband, you have to understand that right now, what I want to do is to always listen to my body, to my intuition. If I don't feel like
Yes,
baking anymore, I'm going to do something else, but I'm always going to follow my heart. And it's okay to do that,
I love that. The
right?
freedom and the liberty, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be able to do that, I think is a big deal. That's amazing.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it
Hey,
is.
I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For,
And how
for
about
me,
you?
for me, it is a lot with awareness. It starts
Hmm.
with awareness. I'm there. I'm big on self awareness. A lot of the times when something goes wrong, I take a step back, remove myself from the situation, and start to think.
Wow.
Um,
That's
so
hard.
I it is. It's a muscle that you build. It's definitely a
Yeah.
muscle that you build. So you start with self-awareness and you're like, okay, what are the things that I can control? What are the things that I
Hmm.
cannot control? And then
Wow.
where do I set those boundaries? Where do I and then not only that, boundary setting is easy. You can say, I am not going to do that from now
Hmm.
on. That's so easy to do.
Yes.
It's when you have to implement those boundaries,
Hmm.
enforce those boundaries, and
Exactly.
advocate for those boundaries. That's when the trouble
Exactly.
starts. So
Yeah.
little steps, honoring your little routines.
Hmm.
A lot of the times growing up, you'll hear a lot of our older elders. They'll come to you and they'll say, you put too much stuff on your face. It's how do you want to call it? People call it maarte in our language,
Yeah.
which technically means
Vain.
you are it's vanity and
Yeah.
it's all of it
It's a sin.
combined. Almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
In our culture,
Older.
everything is a
Yeah.
sin
Yeah.
if we're gonna make it. Um, so really it's just going back to saying, hey, I will take care of myself. I am going to sleep early, little things.
Hmm.
And I'm going to say yes to me. Pretty much what you just said you were gonna do.
I love what you said about taking a step back, and because I
Yes.
am a very naturally reactive person.
Mhm.
But the thing is, when you have like an argument or whatever, and you become very reactive, you actually give your power away. So that,
Oh, you do.
yeah.
You do.
So when you take a step back, reclaim your power, take a seat, that's
Mhm.
also self care. It's
Yes.
one of the best self cares you can teach yourself. Something
Yes.
I want to learn. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
You'll get there.
I hope so.
Sometimes all you have to do to start is just breathe.
Yeah.
And then am I angry? Am
Hmm.
I sad? And then start thinking about what you're gonna say. I do have a lot of things that I could probably share with you on how I would like, there are
I'd
times
love
where
to
like
hear them.
when you're at work, when you're in meetings and somebody says something and you want to be able to say something back. And
Yeah.
almost instantly you want to say something, but what you're gonna say is probably not nice. And
Hmm.
so what I've done is I've kind of compiled for myself things that I could say that would put the situation on hold, make the other person think about what they said, and make me think
Wow.
about what to say, if that makes
Wow.
sense.
That is a
Yeah.
skill that everyone should learn. Yeah.
I'll tell you that it wasn't very easy, and it
Can you
takes a lot
imagine?
of. You know what? I'm gonna tell you a very good example. You drive on the highway, and
Hmm.
people could be jerks on the highway.
Yeah.
So the immediate response for most people is just get mad and put up a middle finger. Instead
Yeah.
of putting up your middle finger, you know what you could do? Thumbs down.
Wow.
You wanna know why? You wanna know why?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, if somebody puts their middle finger up at you, your first response is, "Well, screw you too," right? But if somebody puts a thumbs down on you, that just means they're disappointed in your actions. That will throw anybody off.
Wow.
That will throw
Oh my
anybody
god.
off.
That's the first time I heard it, and it's such a good idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
so just put yourself in the receiver's position. You're so pissed off. Somebody looks at you and just gives you a thumbs down, shaking
Yeah.
their head.
Yeah.
That will throw you off. That's
Exactly.
one good tip. That's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
good tip.
absolutely.
'Cause
Wow.
now that's probably a good segue to our
Yeah,
next topic.
it's true. I can't wait to tell this to my husband. Yeah. Yeah.
So, speaking of tips, let's talk about tips. What is your tip?
Yes.
Do you have a tip? What is your tip this week?
My tip is to trust yourself more. Like
I love that.
if you know it. Like for example, when I would
Gut.
yeah, gut. For example, let's say the smallest thing. I'm decorating a cake and it looks off. There's
Mhm,
something wrong with it.
mhm,
And sometimes because my husband and I were together 24 hours almost. So I would always ask him, "What do you think? What's wrong with this?" And I would just take a step back and say, I know. I know what needs to be done here." And
uh-huh.
it goes the way I want. So those small things start with that, but learn that is the process that I would really love to work on. Trusting myself more, listening to my intuition and my gut. Yeah.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
that.
You
Believing
are
in
a very
yourself.
confident
Well, see,
woman.
I
Yeah.
have
I love that
insecurities. I
about you.
just I just don't let it show.
It's good. You don't give life to it, but I can totally see that. Yeah.
So I read something, and I think this is a very good tip. I read something, and it said, "Create a space for yourself every day." So I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? What space for yourself every day?" One example that I could think about is I love to dance. Going back to the situation I talked about earlier, where everybody relied on me, everything. I mean, at some point, this is really funny, but at some point, my ex husband was alone with the kids, and I was at work, and he called me because he didn't know what my son needed to wear to school. That's how dependent everybody was on me.
Yeah.
So, going back to the tip and saying create a space for yourself, what I had actually started to do was from my love to my love about dancing. I had started going to the gym an hour a week, and then I went to 2 hours, and then at one point I was going 3 hours. So
Mm.
how many hours do you have out of 7 days? I had 3 hours to myself,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that. And that was me time. That was,
Mm.
it's time for
Absolutely.
Marge. It's not Marge the mom, Marge the wife, Marge the daughter. It was just me taking care of me, doing what I love and doing what makes me
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
beautiful.
love that. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
So I will tell you more about dance and how it impacts our
Yeah,
body
please.
later.
I love dancing too, but probably not like you, but it's fun.
No.
It's
So I learned something, and we'll talk about this more in one of our future episodes. I learned eventually that putting yourself through as much cardio may not necessarily be good for your body, but you're gonna have to watch the next episodes
yes.
to hear about that. And this is scientific. That's how I learned it. I will share it with
Hmm.
everybody later on. Um, but following week, we're going to be doing this every week. I
Hmm.
would like to hear how you are going to, oh, how you put yourself first this week. We talked about how you put yourself last. Let's go and talk about your me first moment this week. Did you have one? I'm sure you had one.
This week, yes, I bought myself new pair of jeans.
Oh, nice.
bigger one, bigger ones, because I'm tired of fighting with my
That's
old
okay.
jeans and
That's
yeah,
okay.
So it's like self acceptance and giving yourself grace and space, right?
Absolutely.
I feel good
Absolutely.
wearing looser clothes. So
Because
yeah,
they're a little
that's what
bit
I
more
did for myself.
comfortable.
Hmm.
You know what? It's this buying jeans is probably symbolic of self-acceptance. You
Yeah,
love
I think
yourself
so
and you
too.
love your body and you accept it and you're still beautiful and knowing your fashion sense, I'm pretty confident you bought something flattering.
yeah,
You know what? I would always tell everybody, one thing that I've really personally gone through with menopause was weight gain, weight gain that I
yeah.
could not explain. So
Hmm.
after working so
Going through
hard
it.
and I could not lose it, I'm like, Screw it. I have a reason to shop.
Exactly.
I went
Retail
for it.
therapy.
Nobody's going to stop me. I will buy my heartache away.
Yeah. And it feels good. It feels good.
It does. It totally does. Um, I have a very simple me first moment this week.
Yes.
I have a week's worth of laundry because I have not gone and done laundry. I probably should. I am heading to California next week
Yeah.
for business. And you know, when you travel, you take your luggage and you come back with even more laundry. So I'm
Hmm.
probably going to do that now. But last week, I paused, said, I'm not going to do laundry. And I went and got myself a pedicure.
Good for you. Good for
It
you.
totally works.
Yeah.
It totally
Yes.
works.
I think so. I agree completely.
Uh, anyways, that is pretty
Uh,
much our episode for this week. To wrap up, make me or promise me that you are going to do something for yourself and that you're going to put yourself first this coming week. So you
yeah.
have to commit and tell me what you are going to do.
Okay. Absolutely. What I plan to do for myself this week is I really want to take less orders
Okay.
because I want to
For
do something
cakes?
else. Yes, for cake.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
want to
Okay.
be less, because baking, it takes a lot of my time. It's crazy.
I believe
And
it.
it's hard to be on my laptop, on my phone. Takes a lot of my time, and I just need more time. I was telling my
Okay.
husband I need more than 24 hours in a day. So
Yes, me
yeah, I'm
too.
gonna sacrifice some orders, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Put a little bit more time. I totally, totally get you. Um, I have a full-time job and I get it. I get it. It's breaking
Yeah.
out. It's like, oh my God, can I go on with just 4 hours of sleep without getting those eye bags
Oh,
under my
that's
eyes?
hard.
Absolutely. Well, my promise to myself this week is I am heading to California. It's rather selfish. I have a friend who just happens to be celebrating her 50th birthday today. Winnie, if you watch this episode, have a wonderful 50th birthday, my
Happy
friend.
birthday.
But I'm going to tell you, I wanted to take her out to do something. And I did a rather selfish move and said, I want to do something for your birthday. Why don't we go to the winery? And she's like, yes, I am down for it.
uh, well, it's
So
gonna be
little does she
fun.
know, not only am I doing this for her, she is
And for
doing it
you.
for me.
Good. Win-win. We need that. And we need
Yes,
friends.
absolutely. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful one. So Temecula, California, if you guys are not familiar, is we have Napa. Everybody's
Yeah.
heard of Napa, California. Temecula, California also has very good
Oh,
wines. As a matter of
good to
fact,
know.
yeah, Temecula, California has Wilson's Creek Winery. It's a winery, but
Mm.
I'm going to tell you, they make probably my ultimate most favorite flavor of sparkling wine. Because
Oh.
we're not allowed to call it champagne, and you know
No.
the rules. You know
Yeah.
the rules. But Wilson's Creek makes what we call almond champagne. I sent you
Oh,
one time when your mother flew out there.
I
I
would
believe I
love
did.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If didn't I
You
send you
gave
one,
me a
or
Pinot
maybe I,
Noir. It was a Pinot Noir
oh,
that you
no,
gave
no,
me, and it
no.
was so good.
So, well, that Pinot Noir Belglas is also one of my favorite. I sent you a Belglas,
Yes.
didn't I? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites. But someday I'm gonna try to. If I ever go see you, I'll see if I can carry some. So, it's almond champagne. I love champagne, but I
Yeah.
don't like brut because it's
Okay.
dry.
Me too. Me
Wilson's,
too.
yeah, yes. So Wilson's Creek, it's not
Wilson's.
dry. Yeah. And it's funny. I'm not one of those people who think the more expensive, the more delicious. I don't believe
Yes.
in
No,
that.
not necessarily. No.
Wilson's Creek in the state of California, you could probably buy for $12
Oh,
US a bottle. And I love it. And because
20
it's
Canadian.
so inexpensive, it's not cheap. It's inexpensive. I would usually buy a case and bring it back home because periodically I love mimosa. Like
Yeah.
last night I opened a bottle of Moe, and it made me miss Wilson's Creek. It's
Mm.
called, gosh, I really do think they call it almond champagne. I don't know what the bottle looks like,
Almond
but
champagne.
you have to find it.
Interesting.
Yeah, give it a shot. It's Wilson's Creek.
Absolutely. I
Yep.
think I'm gonna love that
But
too.
if I ever go your way and you've never had it, I'm gonna bring some. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
I'm
Anyways, thank
sure.
you so much for joining us today,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank
Please,
you.
please, please follow us on all the socials. The Awendra at the Awendra TheAwendra on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and very soon on YouTube, where you will see this podcast every week. And as always, like, follow, share, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.